Captain Lee Minho stood on the bridge of the rescue ship, Healing Light, watching the stars streak past through the viewport. His hands gripped the railing as he studied the tactical display showing their small convoy moving through dangerous space. 3 ships total, his rescue vessel loaded with medical supplies, and 2 tiny escort frigates that looked like toys compared to the warships that controlled this sector. "Captain, we're getting another warning transmission," called out Communications Officer Kim Ji-won from her station. Her voice carried a hint of worry that she tried to hide. "5th one in the last hour. They're really not happy about us being here." Minho walked over to look at her screen. The warnings all said the same thing: hostile alien forces operating. In the area, multiple ship disappearances. Recommend immediate course change. He rubbed his jaw, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down on his shoulders. "What's our ETA to Haven Prime?" he asked. 18 hours at current speed, sir," replied Navigator Cho Min-soo. The young officer looked nervous, constantly checking his instruments as if enemy ships might appear at any moment. Minho knew why everyone was on edge. They were flying through the contested Vega sector, where the brutal Korthak Empire had been slowly conquering human colonies. Haven Prime was the latest target, a peaceful mining colony with 40,000 civilians trapped as the aliens systematically destroyed their infrastructure. Dr. Park Suna emerged from the cargo bay, her medical uniform stained with grease from helping convert storage compartments into refugee quarters. She approached Minho with that determined look he'd come to know, well over their years serving together. "Captain, I've managed to create space for 12,000 refugees," she reported, pushing a strand of hair from her tired face. "It'll be cramped, but we can save 12,000 lives if we reach them in time." "And if we don't reach them?" Minho asked quietly. Dr. Park's expression darkened. "The reports from other colonies, the Korthak don't take prisoners. They consider humans inferior. When they're done with Haven Prime, there won't be anyone left to save." The bridge fell silent. Except for the hum of engines and the soft beeping of instruments. Everyone knew what that meant. This wasn't just a rescue mission. It was likely the last chance for 40,000 innocent people. "Sir," Kim Ji-won spoke up again, "Earth Command is requesting confirmation of our humanitarian status. They want to make sure we're broadcasting the proper identification codes." Minho nodded. "Activate all humanitarian protocols. I want every frequency broadcasting our medical status, refugee capacity, and non-combatant identification. Make it so loud that even a deaf alien couldn't miss it." He walked to the ship's intercom and activated the all-hands channel. His voice echoed through every corridor and compartment of the 3 ships. "Attention all crew members. This is Captain Lee Minho. In 18 hours we'll reach Haven Prime Colony. Our mission is simple: evacuate as many civilians as possible and get them to safety. We are not a warship. We carry medical supplies, food, and hope. That's our weapon against the darkness out there." He paused, looking around at his bridge crew, young faces filled with determination despite their fear. "I won't lie to you. This sector is dangerous. The Korthak Empire has been destroying everything in their path. But remember why we're here. Every person we save is someone's mother, father, child, or friend. They're counting on us to bring them home." Dr. Park Suna stepped forward. "Captain, what about the reports of Korthak raiders attacking civilian ships?" "That's exactly why we have our escort," Minho replied, gesturing toward the tactical display showing their 2 small frigates. Captain Yun Tai-hyun and Captain Song Mira are experienced officers. Their ships might be small, but they know how to handle pirates and raiders. The truth was, those escort ships wouldn't last 5 minutes against a real Korthak battle fleet. But they weren't expecting to face the main alien forces, just the raiders and scavengers that picked off stragglers. "Sir, incoming transmission." "From the lead escort," reported Kim Ji-won. Captain Yun's face appeared on the main screen, his expression serious but confident. "Minho, we're picking up some unusual energy signatures on long-range sensors. Could be nothing, but I wanted you aware." "Hostile?" Minho asked. "Unknown. The signatures don't match any known ship designs. Could be natural phenomena or maybe just sensor ghosts. We'll keep monitoring." Minho nodded. "Understood. Maintain current formation and keep those sensors sharp." As the transmission ended, Dr. Park moved closer to Minho. "Do you really think we can pull this off?" she asked quietly. Minho looked out at the stars again, thinking about the 40,000 people waiting for rescue. "We have to. That's what makes us human. We don't abandon people who need help. The galaxy might be full of predators and conquerors, but someone has to be the ones who save lives instead of taking them." The healing light continued its journey through the dangerous sector, carrying hope toward Haven Prime, unaware that death was already moving to intercept them. The attack came like lightning from a clear sky. One moment, Captain Lee Minho was reviewing evacuation procedures with his crew, and the next moment, the bridge erupted in flashing red lights and screaming alarms. "Contact! 3 large vessels decloaking off our starboard bow." Navigator Cho. Minsu's voice cracked with panic as massive shapes materialized on the main screen. The Korthak battle cruisers were enormous, each one easily 10 times the size of the human rescue ship. "All stop! Broadcast surrender immediately," Minho shouted, his training taking over even as his heart hammered against his ribs. "Full humanitarian. Protocols let them know we're a medical vessel." Kim Ji-won's fingers flew over her communications panel. "Broadcasting on all frequencies, sir. Medical vessel, non-combatant status, carrying humanitarian supplies." Her voice grew more desperate with each repetition. "They're not responding to any of our signals." Through the viewport, Minho watched in horror as the alien ships opened fire without warning. The 2 escort frigates, Captain Yun's ship and Captain Song's vessel, lasted exactly 47 seconds. Brilliant explosions lit up space as his friends and their crews were vaporized instantly. "Evasive maneuvers," Minho ordered, but he knew it was hopeless. The healing light was a converted cargo hauler, not a warship. She was built for carrying supplies and refugees, not running from predators. The first impact threw everyone on the bridge to the floor. Sparks showered from overloaded consoles as the ship's hull groaned under the assault. Dr. Park Suna stumbled onto the bridge, her medical coat torn and bloodied from treating injured crew members. "Captain, we've got casualties in the refugee quarters. The artificial gravity is failing in sections 2 and 3, she reported, clutching a support beam as another blast rocked the ship. "How many?" Minho asked, already knowing the answer would haunt him. 17 dead, 32 injured. Most of them are the alien refugees we picked up from the last colony." Dr. Park's voice was steady, but her eyes showed the pain of losing patients. "They were just families, Minho, children and elderly who trusted us to keep them safe." The ship shuddered again as something heavy slammed into the hull. Through the internal cameras, Minho could see Korthak boarding pods cutting through their outer armor like it was paper. The aliens were coming aboard. "All crew, this is the captain," he announced over the intercom, trying to keep his voice calm. "We are being boarded by hostile forces. Remember your training. Protect the civilians at all costs. This is not a military vessel. We are here to save lives, not take them." The sounds of combat echoed through the corridors. Minho could hear the distinctive buzzing screech of Korthak weapons and the screams of his crew members. These weren't soldiers. They were doctors, engineers, and rescue workers who had volunteered to risk their lives saving others. The bridge. Doors exploded inward. 3 Korthak warriors stormed in, their insect-like bodies covered in gleaming armor, their multiple arms wielding advanced energy weapons. Behind them came their leader, a massive creature whose scarred carapace spoke of countless battles. "I am War Prime Kilax," the alien announced in broken human language, his voice like grinding metal. "You will surrender your vessel." Minho stepped forward, his hands raised peacefully. "We surrender. This is a medical ship carrying refugees and humanitarian supplies. We pose no threat to your forces." Kilax's compound eyes focused on the human captain with obvious disgust. "Humans, weak creatures who play at mercy." His mandibles clicked with what might have been laughter. "Your mercy ends now." "Wait." Dr. Park Suna moved to stand beside Minho. "We have wounded aboard, including your own people from colonies you've conquered. Let me treat them, that's all we ask." The War Prime studied her for a moment, then gestured to his warriors. "Kill all humans aboard this vessel. Leave the others to die slowly." "No." Minho stepped between the aliens and his crew. "These people volunteered to save lives. They're not soldiers. They're doctors and engineers and teachers who wanted to help." Kim Ji-won was trying to send out a distress signal when a Korthak warrior's weapon found her. She collapsed over her console, her last act being to activate the emergency beacon that would tell Earth what happened here. Dr. Park Sooner died in the medical bay, shot down while trying to shield wounded refugee children with her own body. Her last words were a whispered promise to a scared alien child that everything would be okay. Navigator Cho Min-soo managed to record a final message before the end came. "This is the rescue ship, Healing Light. We were attacked without provocation while conducting humanitarian operations. We carried no weapons, only medical supplies and hope. Remember us. Remember what we tried to do." Captain Lee Min-ho was the last to die, standing in the doorway of the refugee quarters, where terrified families huddled together. His final transmission was simple. "This is Captain Lee Min-ho. We came here to save lives. We failed. Don't let our deaths be meaningless. Someone has to remember that we tried." The Korthak warriors methodically executed every human aboard, leaving the alien refugees to starve in the damaged vessel. As they departed, War Prime Killax felt satisfied. He had eliminated another group of the weak humans who dared to travel through Korthak space. He had no idea that his greatest mistake was letting those few refugee escape pods launch before the slaughter began. Some stories need witnesses to survive. The emergency session at Earth Defense Headquarters was unlike anything anyone had ever witnessed. Admiral Ko Junho sat at the head of the massive conference table, his face carved from stone as he watched. The survivor testimonies for the third time. The holographic display showed grainy footage from the escape pods, the only record of what happened to the Healing Light and her crew. "Play Section 4 again," he said quietly. The room fell silent as they watched Dr. Park Sooner's final moments. The recording showed her using her own body to shield alien refugee children from Korthak weapons fire. Even as she was dying, she was still trying to bandage a wounded child's arm. Her blood, mixed with the medical supplies scattered across the floor. Defense Minister Nam Hye-jin stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. Several seasoned military officers looked away as she struggled to control her emotions. She had personally approved the rescue mission, had shaken hands with Captain Lee Min-ho before he departed. "How many escape pods made it out?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. 14 pods, Minister," reported Intelligence Director Bae Soo-min. "Mostly alien refugees, only 3 human survivors total, all critically wounded. The rest of our people..." He gestured helplessly at the screen showing the aftermath of the massacre. Admiral Ko's aide, Captain Park Ji-ho, cleared his throat nervously. "Minister, the Galactic Council has sent formal requests for our response. They're expecting the usual diplomatic protests, economic sanctions, maybe a formal complaint to the Interspecies Court." Nam Hye-jin turned to face the room full of Earth's top military commanders. Her eyes were red, but her voice was steady. "How long have we been the galaxy's rescue service? How many times have we risked our people to save alien colonies from disasters, wars, and plagues?" 47 major rescue operations in the past 5 years, answered Admiral Ko. "We've saved over 2 million non-human lives in that time period. And how many times have our medical ships been attacked while conducting humanitarian missions?" "This is the first time, Minister. Until now, even the most aggressive species respected medical vessels and rescue operations." Nam Hye-jin walked to the large display showing the galaxy map. Red markers indicated current conflict zones, while blue markers showed ongoing human rescue operations. There were so many blue markers that they almost outnumbered the red ones. "Captain Lee Min-ho volunteered for this mission," she said, pointing to the Vega sector. "So did Dr. Park Sooner, Communications Officer Kim Ji-won, and Navigator Cho Min-soo. They weren't soldiers. They were healers, teachers, and engineers who believed that saving lives was more important than their own safety." She turned back to face the room. "The Korthak Empire has just taught the galaxy a very dangerous lesson. They've shown that mercy is weakness, that compassion is stupidity, and that humans who come to help should be slaughtered like animals." Admiral Ko stood slowly, his weathered face grim. "Minister, I'm requesting immediate authorization for Operation Steel Thunder. We can have a response fleet ready within..." "Denied!" Nam Hye-jin cut him off. The room erupted in surprised murmurs. Steel Thunder was Earth's standard military response protocol for attacks on human vessels. Minister, Admiral Ko looked confused. Then what are your orders? Nam Hyejin walked to her personal terminal and entered a series of authorization codes. The main display changed to show classified military assets that most people in the room had never seen before. Stealth ships, advanced weapon systems, and fleet numbers that were much larger than anyone had imagined. For 50 years we've chosen to be the galaxy's doctors and rescue workers, she said, her voice growing stronger. We've hidden our true military capabilities because we wanted to be known for saving lives, not taking them. We've let other species think we're weak because we believed that peace was more valuable than fear. She pressed another button, and the display showed real-time locations of human fleets across the galaxy. There were far more ships than the public records indicated. The Korthak Empire has just murdered the best of humanity. They've killed our healers, our protectors, our hope for a better galaxy. They've shown us that our mercy is seen as weakness by predators who understand only strength. Admiral Ko began to understand. Minister, are you authorizing? I'm authorizing Operation Final Answer, she said, her words falling like hammer blows. No prisoners, no negotiations, no mercy. The Korthak Empire dies, all of it. The room fell into stunned silence. Operation Final Answer was theoretical, a complete military response designed to eliminate an entire hostile civilization. It had never been used, never even seriously considered. Captain Park Jiho spoke up hesitantly. Minister, the galactic community will never accept such a massive military action. The other species will unite against us if we let them try, Nam Hyejin replied coldly. For 50 years we've been their protectors, their rescuers, their friends. We've bled for them, died for them, sacrificed for them. And what do we get in return? We get to watch our best people murdered while trying to save alien children. She activated the fleet communication system. All human vessels in Korthak space. This is Defense Minister Nam Hyejin. You have 72 hours to evacuate to safe zones. After that, anyone remaining in that sector is considered hostile. Admiral Ko stood at attention. Minister, the fleets are ready. We can begin operations immediately. Then begin, she said simply. Show the galaxy what happens when you mistake human kindness for human weakness. Show them what we become when our mercy dies. The largest human fleet in history began moving toward Korthak space, and the galaxy was about to learn why humanity had always chosen to be healers instead of warriors. It wasn't because they couldn't fight. It was because they were too dangerous. When they did, the human fleet didn't announce its arrival with threats or demands. They simply appeared. War Prime Kilax was reviewing invasion plans for the next human colony when his tactical officer's panicked screech filled the command center. War Prime. Unknown vessels detected throughout our territory. They're everywhere. Kilax rushed to the main display, his compound eyes widening in disbelief. Dozens of human ships had materialized across 12 different star systems. Simultaneously, these weren't the small rescue vessels he was used to seeing. These were warships, sleek, angular predators that moved through space with deadly purpose. How did they get past our sensor networks? Kilax demanded, his mandibles clicking with agitation. Unknown, War Prime. Our detection grids show no breaches, no alerts, they simply appeared. Admiral Ko Junho stood on the bridge of the flagship Righteous Fury, watching the tactical display show Korthak forces scrambling to respond to the human presence. His expression was calm, almost peaceful, which somehow made him more terrifying than if he had been screaming for blood. Communications? Patch me through to all Korthak command frequencies, he ordered quietly. Commander Lee Dewan, his tactical officer, looked up from her station. Sir, should we broadcast surrender demands? No, Admiral Ko replied. We're not here to accept surrenders. The transmission began broadcasting across every Korthak world, every ship, every military installation. But instead of threats, the humans showed them something else entirely. The footage from the rescue ship massacre began playing on every screen in Korthak space. Kilax watched in growing unease as the recording showed Dr. Park Suna dying while trying to protect alien children. He saw Captain Lee Minho's final words about trying to save lives. He witnessed the systematic execution of humans whose only crime was wanting to help others. "Turn it off!" Kilax snarled at his communications officer. "I can't, War Prime. They've overridden all our systems. The transmission is coming from everywhere at once." Admiral Ko's voice accompanied the terrible footage. "You killed Captain Lee Minho while he was trying to evacuate refugees. You murdered Dr. Park Suna while she was treating wounded children. You executed Communications Officer Kim Ji-won while she was calling for help." The recording continued, showing the Korthak warriors laughing as they destroyed medical supplies and left alien refugees to die in the damaged ship. For 50 years, humanity has chosen to be healers in a galaxy full of predators. Admiral Ko continued. "We've saved millions of lives, including many from your own conquered worlds. We've fed the hungry, healed the sick, and protected the innocent. We did this because we believed mercy was strength." Across Korthak space, military commanders watched their sensor displays in growing horror. Human ships were appearing behind their defensive lines, inside their supposedly secure systems, in positions that should have been impossible to reach. "You have taught us that mercy is seen as weakness by creatures like you." Admiral Ko's voice grew colder. "You have shown us that our healers and protectors will be murdered simply for trying to save lives. So we will no longer send healers and protectors." The first Korthak military installation to be destroyed was a weapons manufacturing facility on the edge of their territory. One moment it was there, a massive complex producing warships for the Empire. The next moment it was expanding debris and cooling plasma. "Contact lost with Station Vex 7, reported a Korthak technician on Kilax's flagship. Before anyone could respond, 3 more installations went dark, then 7 more. The humans weren't attacking randomly. They were systematically dismantling the Korthak military infrastructure with surgical precision. Commander Lee Darwin studied her tactical display with professional appreciation. "Admiral, their supply depot on Korthak Prime is heavily defended. 12 battle cruisers in orbit, planetary defense grid, fighter squadrons. How long to neutralize it completely?" Admiral Ko asked. "Estimated 14 minutes, sir." Kilax watched in disbelief as his home world's orbital defenses simply stopped working. The massive defense grid that had protected Korthak Prime for centuries went offline in sequence, like dominoes falling. His 12 battle cruisers found their weapon systems mysteriously failing, their engines shutting down, their life support flickering. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. "These are the same weak humans we've been conquering for years." His science officer's voice was barely a whisper. "War Prime, I don't think they were ever weak. I think they were holding back." The truth was becoming horrifyingly clear. Every time the Korthak had encountered human military forces, the humans had seemed barely capable of defending themselves. Their ships were slow, their weapons outdated, their tactics conservative. The Korthak had assumed this was because humans were a young, inexperienced species. They had been wrong. Admiral Ko watched another Korthak fleet surrender without firing a shot. The enemy commanders had finally realized they were facing technology decades ahead of their own, wielded by strategists who had been planning for this possibility for years. "Sir, War Prime Kilax is requesting direct communication," reported the communications officer. "Put him through." Kilax's image appeared on the main screen, his earlier arrogance replaced by desperate confusion. "Human Admiral, I demand to know why you are attacking sovereign Korthak territory." Admiral Ko studied the alien commander with the same expression he might use to examine an interesting insect. "You murdered our rescue workers. You executed our medical personnel. You laughed while doing it. That was just one ship, one small incident. That one small incident contained the best of humanity," Admiral Ko replied quietly. "Our healers, our protectors, our hope for a better galaxy. You killed them because you thought mercy was weakness." Another Korthak stronghold disappeared from the tactical display. "Now you will learn what we become when our mercy dies." 3 weeks. That's all it took for the Korthak Empire to cease existing as a military power. War Prime Kilax sat in chains aboard Admiral Ko Junho's flagship, staring at the tactical display that showed the complete destruction of everything he had once commanded. Every Korthak warship destroyed or captured, every military base reduced to twisted metal, Every weapons facility turned into cooling debris fields. The most terrifying part wasn't the destruction itself, it was how precise it had been. Human forces had systematically eliminated every single military target while leaving civilian populations completely untouched. Not one Korthak civilian had been harmed. Not one non-military building had been damaged. It was surgical, calculated, and absolutely ruthless. "Bring in the witnesses," Admiral Ko said quietly to his aide. The door to the flagship's conference room opened, and 14 alien refugees walked in. The survivors from the Healing Light massacre. They were different species from across the galaxy, beings who had been fleeing war and disaster when Captain Lee Minho's rescue ship had picked them up. They had watched their human protectors die trying to save them. Among them was a young Zelani, female named Kira, barely an adult by her species standards. She had been holding Dr. Park Suna's hand when the human doctor died, listening to whispered promises that everything would be okay, even as life faded from the woman's eyes. "Do you recognize this creature?" Admiral Ko asked the refugees, gesturing toward Kilax. Kira stepped forward, her voice shaking but determined. "He's the one who gave the orders. He told his warriors to kill all the humans and leave the rest of us to die slowly." Another refugee, an elderly Thraxian male, nodded gravely. "The human female doctor was still trying to heal my grandson when they shot her. She used her own body to shield him from the weapons fire." Admiral Ko turned to face Kilax, his expression completely calm. "War Prime Kilax of the Korthak Empire, you stand accused of murdering non-combatant rescue workers during a humanitarian mission. How do you respond?" Kilax's mandibles clicked, with what might have been defiance or fear. "I was following military protocol. Humans are enemies of the Korthak Empire. We were within our rights to—" "You murdered doctors," Admiral Ko interrupted, his voice never rising above conversational level. "You executed people whose only weapons were medical supplies and food rations. You killed Captain Lee Minho while he was trying to protect refugee children." The Admiral activated a holographic display showing the massacre footage one more time. "Look at it. Look at what you did to people who came to save lives." Kilax was forced to watch Dr. Park Suna die again, to see Communications Officer Kim Jiwon fall while trying to send a distress signal, to witness Navigator Cho Min-soo recording his final message about hope and humanity. "They were weak," Kilax snarled, though his voice lacked conviction. "Humans are a weak species that hides behind mercy and compassion." Admiral Ko studied the alien commander for a long moment. "You're right about one thing. We did hide behind mercy and compassion. For 50 years we chose to be the galaxy's rescuers instead of its conquerors. We chose to save lives instead of taking them. We chose to heal instead of harm." He gestured toward the tactical display, showing the remains of the Korthak military. "But mercy was always a choice, not a weakness, and you just taught us to make a different choice." Commander Lee Doan stepped forward with a data pad. "Admiral, final casualty report. Total Korthak military personnel eliminated, 400,000. Total Korthak civilian casualties, 0. Total human casualties during the operation, 0. And their military capability? Completely neutralized. No remaining warships, no weapons manufacturing, no military infrastructure. The Korthak Empire no longer exists as a threat to anyone." Admiral Ko nodded and turned back to the refugees. "You are free to return to your homeworlds or to request sanctuary in human space. We will provide transportation and any assistance you need." Young Kira stepped forward again. "Admiral, what will happen to the galaxy now? Will other species think humans are monsters?" Admiral Ko's expression softened slightly. "That depends on them. We didn't become monsters. We became protectors using different methods. Every species in this galaxy now knows 2 things about humanity. We will sacrifice everything to save innocent lives, and we will destroy everything that threatens them." He activated the ship's communication system for a final galaxy-wide broadcast. "This is Admiral Ko Junho of the Human Defense Fleet, speaking to all civilized species. The Korthak Empire attacked and destroyed a human rescue vessel conducting humanitarian operations. They murdered doctors, engineers, and rescue workers, whose only crime was trying to save lives. The broadcast showed footage of the human response, the systematic dismantling of Korthak military power without harming a single civilian. For 50 years, humanity chose to be your healers, your rescuers, your friends. We offered our best. People to help in times of crisis. We asked for nothing in return except the chance to save lives and prevent suffering. Admiral Ko's voice grew colder. The Korthak Empire mistook our mercy for weakness. They murdered our healers and laughed while doing it. They have learned the price of that mistake. The tactical display showed the complete destruction of Korthak military assets across dozens of star systems. Let this be a lesson to any species. Considering similar actions, humanity's greatest strength has always been our choice to show mercy instead of might. We offered healing hands to the galaxy, and most of you welcomed them. But remember this: the same hands that can heal can also destroy. The same minds that create medicines can create weapons. The same hearts that feel compassion can feel righteous fury. The broadcast ended with a simple message that echoed across every world in the galaxy. We are still here to help those who need us. We are still ready to risk everything to save innocent lives. But we will no longer tolerate the murder of those who carry our mercy to the stars. Choose wisely how you treat those who come to help. War Prime Kilax was eventually handed over to the Galactic Criminal Court, where he was sentenced to life. Imprisonment for war crimes. The 14 refugee survivors became advocates for human rescue operations, traveling the galaxy to tell their story of the humans who died protecting them. And in the depths of space, human rescue ships continued their work, carrying medical supplies and hope to worlds in need. But now everyone knew that behind each mercy ship stood the full might of humanity, a species that had chosen to be healers but could become destroyers if their healers were threatened. The galaxy had learned that humanity's mercy was not weakness. It was a gift that could be taken away.